Way to go, Bob.
Top water fishing. Delaware Valley Outdoors. I'm Bob Murray. Stay tuned. It's going to be a good one,
Yes,
son.
sir.
Yeah, baby.
Delaware Valley Outdoors, your best source for fishing information on TV, radio, and the internet.
He's going to jump.
Oh, gosh.
Got him?
I got him. Yeah. Where do you see this one?
That looks like a nice one.
Where do you see this one?
Oh, son, look at that one.
Over here, baby.
Oh,
Oh, get that one over here. Right.
oh, baby. Keep your mouth open. Come on. You got to watch those hooks. Say ah. Oh, Bob. Way to go. That's a fish.
Oh, there you go.
Got him?
Yeah, I got him. There we go. Hey, top water fishing. Barry Bull. We're up here trying to do a little bit of bass fishing. But basically, we're working on a top water bite. And these are the kind of fish you can catch on a top water bait. You know what we talked about, Barry? Exciting. You got to have a good heart for this.
Good heart for top water. When they blow up, we've had a lot of misses. And it gets the heart pumping, the blood pumping.
I'm still shaking.
Everything's pumping.
Let me get this one back in the water. All right, fishy. You go back and you just hang out.
Oh, that's a nice one.
That's good. You know, getting out on the water when you're top water fishing is really important early in the morning, right, Bar?
Yeah, it is. You know, the fish have been out all night feeding, you know, and usually in the morning it's calmer, low light conditions, and so it'll still be, you know, effective on top water baits. And once the sun gets up, not that you can't catch them when the sun's out, but it's the low light conditions early in the morning is probably one of the better times.
Yeah, a lot of times when we talk, you know, like top water baits, you know, top water fishing, whether it's buzz bait or spitting image or whatever we're throwing, that low light condition is really important. And it could be at night, the afternoon or evening.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because what the fish do, they pull off during the day, go into a little deeper water.
And they hide in the grass.
And yeah, and now we're out here, this thing, so it's important to really get up real early. You know, they always laugh about getting up early fishermen, but you do have to have that because this is when these baits are the most effective. And you brought up the point that, yeah, and I've done it, and I know you've done it. I've thrown a buzzbait in the middle of the day and caught a fish off a set of pads or some stuff. But the optimal time is when we have these low light conditions, especially off of weed beds, whether it be mats of weeds or pads and stuff like that.
Right. Yes.
There you go. Watch it. Watch. Boom.
All right.
All right, I got him. Now that fish, I just let it sit
Right.
on top of the water.
They come right out of the grass
Yeah,
pocket.
oh.
Now he's down in the grass.
Oh, now he's in the grass. Look at this.
You got half fish, half grass.
I got half fish, half grass. Now, let's take a look at this, Bar. I cast out. We just had a fish blow up over here, and I was just straightening out my line, and I let the bait sit. Now that bass came up and just slashed at it.
Yep.
It didn't really. It was just sitting there, and they slash at it. A lot of times, you know, especially in the springtime too, they'll come up and just whack at it.
Yeah.
And so it's important that you have sharp hooks, and get this grass out.
You got enough grass for salad tonight.
Yeah, really. What you want to remember is that again, the techniques that we're using with this top water bait, a lot of times it's the technique that you're doing is either fast, slow, and you got to let the fish actually tell you what they want.
What speed, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little trick. If you want to get out there, throw your bait out, just let it sit. You know, Barry, we've been around the leagues a long time, but in the old days, we always said, cast your bait out and wait till the ripples go away, and then start twitching it.
Right.
Because a lot of times,
that's a rule of thumb.
Yeah, what the fish do is that when that bait comes down, whether it be a pop R or whatever we're throwing here, it comes down, it splashes on the water. That immediately gets the fish's attention.
Right.
Now they see something, what is that? And all of a sudden, they're watching and you make that first twitch, they can't stand it.
Nope. Drives them wild.
Yeah.
He wants it.
Yeah.
Depends on how bad he wants it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got him that time. I told you he wanted it.
Now we had that fish moving. The important part of that was that Barry had a blow up.
Right.
I threw back in there and I had a blow up, and you threw back in there again
And got him.
and got him. So a lot of times when you're doing this top water fishing, if you have the blow up and you have the fish, don't stop reeling. Keep on moving. Okay, keep your bait going. And if you missed it, go right back, because a lot of times they're still aggressive, and within a second or so that you put your bait back in there, they'll go and jump right back on it.
Yep.
You know, with throwing these top water baits, you know, when you're fishing a worm or like jig and pig, you're actually looking for a specific target.
Yeah.
With these top water baits, when you have something like this mat here, Bar, that really just, it's like a magnet, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we're out here, we're out in the middle of nowhere. It's there's an island here. There's a green buoy over to my right. That's where the channel comes up, and then there's a hump out here. And on the hump, it's actually a rock flat hump out here with grass pockets. And it's an excellent place to throw top water because you got the channel near it, and you got rock, and you got these grass flats, these patches here. And it's got a little chop on the water right now, but we can pull them out of the grass. They'll come out of the holes. And
Yeah, that's the thing that you said, the grass patches, and to fish right on top of them. That's what this, you couldn't get a spinnerbait through all this stuff, or a crankbait.
No, this is pretty thick,
Yeah.
and it's, some places it's matted,
Yeah.
and it's thicker than others, but you just fish around the patches of grass and the holes. And
Right. You know, you said something that's important. Fish around it. Just don't go one side of it. Go on the other side of it. And actually, you know, we'll spend time on these spots, but don't just hit one spot and keep on going. Turn around, go back over it again.
oh yeah,
And
Just go around it. You know, fish it from a distance and fish around it, and then drift over it. You know, fish it thorough.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's more than one fish.
like, and that's the thing is fishing it thorough. You gotta aim for different pockets, because each time you do it, you're not hitting the same pocket.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to throw in the same spot
Yeah.
time after time.
And one of the other things, Bar, when we're doing out here, the speed of our retrieves has to vary.
Right.
That is so important to try different things with a top water bait. You're fishing a spitting image there, and you're just popping it, right?
Right. I'm mixing up the retrieve to see what kind of retrieve they like. Sometimes they like it fast, sometimes they like it slow. Today it seems like they like it stopped a lot. You know, the water's in the low 80s, you know, high 70s, low 80s. And, you know, not only does the water condition and the water temperature and you know the sun have a factor, but you have to find the right retrieve that they want. And once you find that right retrieve, that's what you give them. If they want the lure stopped a lot, you stop it a lot. So that seems to be working pretty good.
Yeah, sometimes they're really aggressive, and we can't see it such because we're up on top of the water. But a lot of times when that bait hits the water, the fish focuses on it, and then he follows it.
He follows it for a ways.
Right, and he might be following it for, well, you know, a whole bunch of reels, and then all of a sudden when you pause it, you can't stand it, and then he hits it. Otherwise, if you just kept reeling it in, that fish would just follow it and then got to the boat and just peel off.
Yep.
So it's important that when you vary your retrieves, and with certain lures too, if you're using a spook, you want to get that cadence going back and forth.
Right.
A pop R, so you want that pop, 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 pop.
Yes.
Or your spit and image, you want it to spit.
Yep, you want a little splash there.
An ideal water temperature that you're looking for when you're using top water is anything over 60 degrees. You can catch fish probably in the high 50s on top water, but generally speaking, you want to look for that water temperature starting in the 60s and then rising. That's your best bet. Now, while we have a minute here, I want to talk a little bit about how we're working some of these top water lures. I have a Pop R on right now, and what you want to do with that Pop R is cast it out and let it sit just a second. Let the ripples die down, and then what you want to do on a tight line, you want to reel it and just pop it. Reel it, pop, reel it, pop, reel it, pop, and let it sit. Reel in your slack line, pop, 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 let it sit. Get your slack line up, pop, pop, and work it all the way back to the boat. Don't be afraid, because a lot of times a fish will follow that bait almost right to the boat, and then when you maybe that last pause, it'll hit the bait. So again, you just want to let it sit, pop, 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 pop. Now, speed is a variable that the fish are going to tell you how fast they want it. Do they want it pop, 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 or do they want it pop, pop? The fish will tell you, but you want to vary your retrieve. Every 5 casts, change your retrieve. If you're not catching something, change your retrieve. It'll help you a lot. Barry, you're using a spit and image. Obviously, it's a little different than my Pop R. How do you work that?
All right, the spit image, again, is a top water bait. I usually make long casts, especially if the water's clear. Make a long cast, and the way I do, top water baits, cast it out, I let it sit to the ring stop, all right? And then I'll just twitch it with the rod tip, 1 or 2 twitch. Let it sit. If nothing happens, then I'll go into what I feel is the right retrieve. And if it's not the right retrieve, I mix it up. Sometimes they want it fast, sometimes they want it medium, sometimes they want it slow. Sometimes you could stop it for 5 or 10 seconds. Sometimes they want it stopped, and that's when they hit it. So you got to find out what retrieve that they want. Basically, all I'm doing is jerking the rod tip. When the lure's at the farthest cast out, I use the rod tip up high. Twitch it with the rod tip, 1, 2, 3, pause it, maybe let the ripple stop. Then I'll just go maybe 1, 2, stop. And if they don't hit it, then I'll work it back. But I'll stop it a lot. And as it gets closer to the boat, I'll lower my rod tip, so I'm not jerking the spit image out of the water.
Right.
Naturally, if you work it faster, it's going to spit a little bit. If you work it slower, it's going to zigzag like walking a dog, almost like a Zara spook. Mm-hmm. And work it all the way back to the boat.
Bang. Oh, come on, back, get in, get that one.
I got him.
Good.
I pulled a fast one on you, Bob.
Let me explain what we did here.
Well, what just happened?
I'm throwing a top water bait, and I had a blow up out here. And one of the things that you should always have on deck with you is a follow-up bait. Barry had the follow-up bait ready for us. As soon as I had the blow up, Barry went right to the wacky worm there, and boom, caught a nice bass. So one of the things that you do, especially when at top water, that is really important, is to have that follow-up bait. And if you're fishing with a partner, which is easy,
It helps quicker.
to get the bait out. But if you have a blow-up like that and you miss the fish, put your rod, let the bait sit there. Get your follow-up bait, which could be like a little worm or a finesse worm, something like that. Throw it right back in there. A lot of times you'll pick up that fish. That was a decent fish that blew up on mine, and we caught the fish.
Yep.
Wait, there you go. What? Missed.
Missed him?
There you go. I got him.
There you go. There you go. That's a nice fish. I guess I can't use my worm on this one.
Oh, he's in the weeds. Get him out. There he comes.
Here he comes. Nice one. Nice chunky one.
I don't like to lift him. He's chunky. That's the only thing you got to watch out when you have these, all those trebles in there on the thing.
That's a healthy one.
Little chug bug.
Yep.
Again, we're off up flat here, right?
Flat with grass. And it's, we're right on the edge of the drop off, the flat where it drops off. Grass there, a few rocks mixed in.
And I just, again, one of the things we talk about is that let the fish tell you what they want. And they wanted that bait, cast and just let it lay there. One little pop, and that's what we did. One little chug bug. Barry, you know we got another set of baits on now. I have a bait, a Zara spook, a spook type of baits. It's a bait that kind of just, what we call walking the dog.
Walk the dog,
yeah.
yep.
And what you want to do is you want to cast it out, and you really just want the bait to go back and forth, back and forth. I just like to give it that pause, and when you pause, you know, with the top water stick baits that we have, the rear end always drops down.
Yeah.
And I think that when that starts to drop down, the fish kind of it looks different, because the fish, it looks like, oh, that bait's really dying because it's falling back down. And as soon as you start to turn it, pop it again, 1, 2, 3, boom, that fish will hit it. And you got one of my favorite baits on, and that's the old buzz bait.
The lunker bait, buzz bait.
Right.
The key with the buzz bait, all right, and most top water baits, you try to throw them out as far as you can. But what I do is when I cast out, I engage the reel before it hits the water. The idea of buzz bait is to keep it on the surface, because as it hits the water, engage the reel, and the blades start turning right away, because you want it on the surface just fast enough to keep it on the surface, but out of the water. I mean, you can actually fish it underwater if you want, but then you would go to a spinner bait.
Right.
But a buzz bait, cast it out, click the reel, and start reeling right away. This way it's constantly on the top of the surface.
One of the things, Barry, that we want to tell people, so you're throwing this buzz bait, I don't look at it, because if you look at it and the fish hits it, you have that instinct to pull back. So
that happens to the best of us. Let me tell you, like you're saying, what you want to do is, it's exciting. You got to have a good heart, a lot of patience. You do get a lot of misses with buzz baits. All right, you can actually put a stinger hook on. If you get a lot of misses on a buzz bait, you put a stinger hook on. All right, but the rule of thumb is, and it's hard, even the best fishermen, you see that splash, you want to yank it. Just keep reeling it. When you feel the weight of that fish, then set the hook.
So you want to remember a couple of things. One is wait for that weight to come back on it. And two, if you're getting a lot of short strikes or they're just whacking at it, put a stinger hook on it. And also, a lot of buzz baits come through with the skirt actually long. Sometimes another real quick tip is cut that skirt back right to the edge of the hook. And a lot of times they'll come up and see that they hit that skirt, and then they have it, because if they hit the skirt, they don't have the hook. That's what's going to happen. So you can either put the stinger hook on or shorten up that skirt.
Bob, we're over here on this is like a secondary point. There's a stump up here. We have some matted grass. We've got the reeds here. There's a few rocks in the water here. And there's a little bay. There's some lily pads over here, and it comes out to another rocky point over here with grass on it. So I mean, this has got so much good cover. It's a good place for them to ambush a lot of the bait.
Yeah, because you got exactly right. Because bait is going to hide up into those reeds and stuff like that, and those bass will just come cruising along here, and you got a ton of stuff here.
Oh, there's bait here. There's plenty of cover. I mean, you got wood, rock, grass, reeds. It's all here. Lily pads.
On a point.
On 2 points and a little bay. So
I got, yo, Barry, watch, look. There we go. Oh, there you go, Barry.
oh, that's a good one. Hold on, right there.
Oh, come here. Oh, I got some weeds. Oh, there you go. Oh, come here. Come here.
That's a nice one, Bob.
Yeah. You know what, Barry? I just get so excited when I catch them on top water. Big, small.
There's nothing like it.
Whatever.
It gets your heart pumping.
Yeah, that's cool. On a little pop. Oh. Well, we're here with the tackle box Baron. You know, it's just top water baits. You know, I just get so excited when those fish hit them, and sometimes it intimidates people because you know they can throw a worm or they can throw a buzz bait or a spinner bait or something like that, and they kind of get the idea. But with these, you got to get a knack to it. You got to get your rhythm down and what to do. First bait is a Cavitron buzz bait, little 1/8 ounce. Now, a lot of times, you know, I'll throw an 1/8 ounce versus a quarter or, you know, 3/8 ounce like that. Of course, if you have wind, you got to go
heavier.
You got to go heavier.
Yeah.
What do you like about these baits?
Well, you can throw any kind of buzz bait you want as long as it's white. That's a start.
Right.
But this one here has got holes in it,
Right.
so it gives off a special vibration.
Right, it blows
Right.
those bubbles up.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it adds to the attractant to it.
One of the things we can work a lot of garbage over top of this stuff.
Yeah, you can put that right into the slop and you know, close to the matted stuff where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's exciting when they blow up on that. Sometimes they get it on the first try, sometimes the second try, sometimes the third try. But if they miss it, if you're at a pattern where they're missing it a lot, throw a stinger on there, a stinger hook, add a hook on there. And then you had mentioned about cutting the skirt down a little shorter because
Right.
you know it bulks up the bait a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll come in, they'll bite, they'll just go nip at this end here when
Right.
it's going through the water like
And
this.
if you
They'll put
shorten
that-
it up, they'll
you
get to
shorten
the
that
hook.
out, then they come onto that. And again, every time I'm in a tournament or something like that, definitely I'm putting a trailer hook on it. Okay, this type of bait we have here, Bar, it's like a spook. I mean, it's that back and forth,
Walk the dog type of lure.
Yeah.
They call it floating stick
Yeah.
bait, or you know, you might hear them say cigar bait. But it's a lure that floats and casts like a rocket, and you basically do walk the dog type of action.
And again, that's a special cadence that you kind of get used to. I know you and I just say it almost becomes natural to us to do that type of thing. Now, this is kind of a color that I like. I don't know, it's like a baby bass or alewife type thing. Do you have any favorite colors when you use a spook? Does it matter to you?
Well,
Like daylight, dark?
You know, clear water, daytime, clear baits work real well. And I had been using a Zara spook that was clear, had yellow in it, but big. It was a super spook. It had the big rattles in it. Works good daytime and nighttime.
I think it's a big profile out there.
Big profile, big rattles. But they make them in different sizes. You know, sometimes you have to downsize to smaller Zara spooks or
Yeah, the puppy.
to stick-
Yeah.
Yep, they have the puppy. the
Okay,
junior.
now they make them in a lot of colors. This again, you said clear. I like this clear too. The old chug bug here. You know, one thing we didn't mention a lot of times, but it's got the rattles in it. Rattles in it, which makes it important because when that's popping, it's also doing that. Another thing too, Barry.
Yeah, the flash tail too.
Flash tail. When you see that in the water and you do that, boy, and that picks up that light, it really
It looks like it's moving.
it does. It
Look at it
really
move.
does. Again, vary sizes, but a clear's a good color.
Yeah.
Spit and image.
One of my favorites, along with the Zara spook. You know, that's kind of a mixed up lure. That could be referred to as a popping lure, a splashing lure, and walk the dog lure.
All in one.
It's all in one. I mean, it depends on how you work it. You know, whether you work it fast, slow. They call it a spit and image because it's really close to what the herring in the lake. It looks like a live herring.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay, now you're gonna let me touch
You
this
can
one.
touch that one.
Okay, just
But
quickly tell us.
let me tell you a little secret on that one. where there's toothy critters, meaning pike or pickerel,
You're not throwing this.
well, you could throw it, but if you lose it, don't tell your wife it cost you $25.
Right, this is a Rico, and it's a great bait.
It's a great bait. You
Catch a lot
know,
of fish.
sometimes, you know, people say, why do you spend $25 for a lure? Sometimes it makes a difference. I mean, you know, when you lose a $5, $8 lure, it's no big deal.
Yeah. You can use that 25.
Yeah.
All right, right, we didn't throw this much, but again, it's the floating worm. Again, you can throw this in a variety of conditions.
I tell you, we didn't get to throw it, but if we had really fished way into that slop, that's completely weedless. All right, you could throw that anywhere and not get hooked up, and I mean, they'll attack it.
And one of the things that you got, the crazy color you have here is it's what?
Sherbet.
Yeah.
It's pink, orange, green in it. I use a large hook, and Bob, I nick it in on the side here, so when I go to set the hook, it doesn't have to penetrate all the rubber. Just as long as you get the point,
it'll just go right
come right
in there.
through.
Well, back, I think that's the tackle box.
I'll tell you one little secret.
What is that?
If you fish these lures at night, in the dark, put smelly jelly on it. Because when all the bait's out there, that little smell may make the difference fishing at night.
There you go, another tip, and that's the tackle box. We got a great set of conditions right now. You know, everybody thinks of top water early morning, late at night, but we have a set of conditions here. We've got a nice cloud cover coming in, and the wind has laid down, which is important, am I right?
Sure is. With the wind down, cloud cover, we got a little bit more time to do a little more top water. And we're over a good grass bed here, and I think we should still throw top water because you can still get them during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's right now.
Yeah, that cloud cover comes in, lays down on us, we'll be okay.
It's perfect. You know?
Oh, look at that one.
Oh man, he's stripping. Oh man, son.
Oh, come here, get that thing in here. Good Lord. Oh, that's what you want.
Oh, son.
Look at that. Hey, a little Cavachum buzzbait there.
Thanks, bud.
Buzzbaits, midday, top water, Barry Vaughn again. Thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate it. Hey, I'm Bob Murray, says Delaware Valley Outdoors. Go to our website, Delaware Valley Outdoors. We got a great radio show program, a lot of tips from the pros. I'm Bob Murray. I'll see you on the water. Ooh, look at that big dog.
Accommodations provided by Upper Redo Resorts, your home away from home in Ontario, Canada.